Hi, my name's Starsky and welcome to From the Studio on Clubbing TV. In this episode, I'm going to take a look at 10 fun little Christmas gifts. Christmas isn't about being sensible, it's about treating yourself and your loved ones to something special. Something that you don't actually need, but might be nice to have. So I've put together a small list of Christmas treats ranging from around £6 to, well, actually the most expensive is £400. That's a very big treat, but most of them are under £100. And we'll start off with some of the more cheaper items on my list. Well, they might be cheap or cheapish, but they're definitely useful. And the first thing I discovered this year is that once you've used them, you'll never go back. And these are the Befaco or Befaco Knurlies, not quite sure how you say it. And like the best ideas, these are really, really simple, but quite genius. And they are a definite treat. They're for holding your Eurorack modules in the case, and they're really handy because you don't need a screwdriver. You can actually pick them out of the case, put them back in and screw things in and out with just your fingers, which you can't do with normal screws. But at £30 for a tin of 50, that makes them almost £1 per screw, which is ridiculous considering you get these for free. So they really are a little bit of a luxury, and that's why I think they deserve their place in my Christmas treat box. And next up, and sticking to the Eurorack theme, are these stackables from Tip Tops. That's stack cables, all one word. Again, a really simple idea, a cable that you can stack up. You click them together, and now one output goes to two separate inputs. So again, really genius little idea. These cost around £6.50 to £7 for the shorter ones, and they get a bit more expensive as the cables get longer. But they are really handy, and I think that places them, again, firmly in the Christmas treat box. So if you've got anything with patch points that you can use patch cables, they should definitely go on your list. And now it's time to jump up a gear in terms of price and look at some fun little synths. Teenage Engineering Pocket Operators are a perfect little gift for around £80. Here I've got, I think this one's a synth. Just crazy little sounds. I've got covers on these, so I'll take cover off one of them. See what they look like. There you go. They've got a basic little sequencer. They've got 16 steps and you've got 16 different patterns in there. You've got effects and you've got parameter locks and stuff like that. So you can go quite deep with them, and they're a perfect reason to ignore the rest of the family on Christmas Day. So that's one reason to get one. But they are completely impenetrable without reading the manual. You know, you're never going to figure out what all these buttons do, and you've got combinations of keys and stuff like that, and it's easy to forget what everything does, especially if you've got a cover like this that doesn't have half the words on it. So I suppose I've only got myself to blame, but this is the Teenage Engineering official cover. But they're a bit of fun, and definitely for the Christmas list. You can actually patch them together. Got some official Teenage Engineering cables here, so they'll all sync together and the sound goes from one to the other to your mixer, and that can be quite fun. So you can get yourself a mini studio, but if you think about it, you've got £80 each. If you had 4 of these, that's about £320, and that adds up a fair bit. That's like, you know, you can get a decent little proper sort of synth for that. You can get an Arturia Microkey, for example. So they are a definite luxury, definite bit of fun, and that's why they're going on the top 10 Christmas treat list. And if you've already got some, maybe get yourself a cover or two to hide the graphics and give yourself a bit more of a challenge. Next up, I've got something that I demoed a couple of weeks ago, and that's the Korg NTS1. One, the new tech, which you buy in bits and you put it together carefully. If you saw my episode of me doing that, make sure you do it carefully. It's like making a sort of a mini IKEA cupboard or something, but you know, be careful, do read the manual, because I had to sort of put it together and I forgot to put the keyboard on, so to take it all apart and remake it. But at £88, it's in the same price range as the Pocket operators. You can sync them together if you've got a stereo splitter cable. So from the Korg, you can take your sound out of the left and the right hand side will go into one of the Pocket operators as the sync. So, you know, you can have a bit of fun with them. And this is interesting because it's got an audio in and it's got basic effect. It's got a modulation effect, so chorus and phaser and ensemble. And you've got a delay, you've got different types of delay. You've got a stereo delay, a ping pong delay, a mono delay, a tape delay, a high pass delay, and you've got different sort of reverbs. And from the Minilog XD, they're really pretty decent reverbs. You can't edit them too much, but you can plug something in to your audio in and you can use this as an effects unit, which is pretty cool actually. So you can play with your big boy toys with your little stocking filler. And again, this is handy because you've got something to build, something to do after Christmas dinner, a bit like an advanced Lego set, although having said that, it's nowhere near as difficult as Lego. And following that, we've got the Nunomo QUN. And you may have seen the episode where I made some minimal techno using just these and a drum machine. Unlike the Korg, these come already built, which is handy, and its synth engine is a completely different thing. It's a completely different league to the Korg. It's got two oscillators, it's got FM synthesis, granular synthesis, virtual analog, it's got a pretty flexible sequencer, and everything in it can be controlled via MIDI. It's got a really clever little screen, a clever little menu system that goes really deep, and again, it's something that you can get stuck into rather than argue with your family about what to watch on the TV, which of course should be clubbing TV. And for some less technical synth fun, you can go back to the 60s and get your hands on a stylophone. This is the reincarnation of the classic, which sold over 4 million in the end. It's only got a single voice and not much editing at all. You've just got a couple of options on there. But it's a real analog circuit for just £24. And if that's too simple, you could upgrade to the Stylophone Gen X1, and this is becoming a bit more of a proper synth. You've got a lot of controls over the synthesis. It's got an envelope, it's got an LFO, a built-in delay, and you can play with a filter. So this is a really, really nice little bit of kit actually. And as you might expect, these are a little bit more pricey, but they're only £60, which keeps them really in the Christmas stocking range. So definitely on the Christmas treat list. So either one, both good fun. And next up, let's take a look at some more expensive things that are actually really useful in the studio. I don't think you could have a Christmas treat list without including a Korg Volca or two. The range is constantly expanding. There's the modular, keys, kick, new bass, bass, sample, beats, mix, FM, and there are racks now that you can put them in as well, and they're all amazing sounding machines. The size has got nothing to do with the sound that comes out of them, and the one I've got here is the Vulcan New Bass, which is a bit like an acid machine with some added bits and bobs. Like, it's got a sub oscillator, and it's got a valve distortion in there as well. And I put this up against the Behringer TD3, which is the remake of the Roland TB303, and it held its own. It's not the same, it wasn't trying to be the same, but it can sound massive. And then I move on to the Microkey Air, moving away from synths, and although I'm still sticking with Korg, and I'm bringing out the Microkey Air as I use it all the time. It's got Bluetooth MIDI and can work on battery power as well, so it means that when I'm doing stuff on the kitchen table like I am here, I don't need all those really annoying USB cables. How many batteries does it take? One. Yep, just 2 AA batteries. And it's really good actually for putting together with the Behringer clones, because it's about the same size. Let's just put it up against one here. So there you go, it's almost the perfect size for all these Behringer clones. I use this all the time, and I can definitely fit in a long stocking. So another one for your list. Next up, and getting a little bit more serious, I suppose, if you're making music with hardware or vocals, you'll at some point need to get sounds into your computer, and you'll need an interface for that. And I've picked out here my small interface of choice, and that's the Focusrite Scarlet range. And here we've got the 2i2. They're around 115 to 130 pound for the new generation, the Gen 3. This is the Gen 2, Generation 2. You can pick them up second hand for around 80, 90 pound. But the Scarlet range in particular are rock solid. They've got a really low latency, which means the time between something happening and you actually hearing it, which means you can record things like vocals in your headphones without hearing really annoying, really short delays. And that brings me on to my next and final recommendation, and that's some nice headphones. I thought it was time to treat myself, so I'm having a look at some new ones. It is Christmas after all, so I'm taking a look at these. These are by Avantone, who are sort of most famous, I suppose, for their small studio speakers, but they also make really high quality headphones. And these are the item that I mentioned at the start that cost about £400, so I'm not sure if I'm keeping them yet. But let's have a listen. Oh wow, you should have a listen to what I can hear in these. It's absolutely amazing. Well, it's always good fun to try and pick out a nice to have rather than a must have. So if you did see something interesting here, don't forget it'll be on our Clubbing TV official YouTube channel on the From the Studio playlist. So copy that link and make sure you get it into someone's playlist, someone with a bit of cash. I hope you found something useful in there. Studio kit is so expensive. Most of all, I hope you have a very happy Christmas. Here's hoping we can get to see the family that I've been dissing throughout this. It'd actually be nice to have an argument all around the same table rather than via Zoom. Anyway, let's hope 2021 is an improvement on 2020 for everyone, and I'll see you in the next episode of From the Studio.